Here we go, one more time, everybody feeling fine. Here we go now, here we go. Welcome back everyone. This is an ongoing conversation that I'm having with you all about not only finding your brave, living your fiercest life, and what it all means. What it all means not only for yourself, but for your family and for your community. Today I want to talk a little bit about not running from your story. Not running from your story. So what does that mean? Your story, you have you, sitting right there watching this. You have your own unique story, your own unique life experiences, your own unique journeys, so trials and tribulations. I'm sure that you've been through, that we all go through, good and bad, ups and downs. You have your own story. And the point about life and about being able to help people through life and sharing your story is that you have to own your story first. And so you can't run from it. Another reason is your story provides depth and context for your life. And so when we look about going deep, when we start talking about things like authenticity and being original, I know so many in my generation, millennials out there, we always talk about like, how can we like stand out? How can we be different? How can we be and original? And that starts with owning your story. And that story does provide depth and context for your life. It allows you to go deep. Your story is a foundation for you to stand on and to tell other people, look, I made it through this. And because I made it through this, so can you. Our story allows us to be able to identify with each other, relate to each other. Because chances are, if you've gone through something, someone else has too. And if you can own your story, if you can not run from it, then you can help somebody through their circumstance because you made it on the other side. Again, of course, what I just said is you can help people see themselves through your story. You can help people make it through the other side of their circumstance by owning your story. A good relation to that is I get a good phone call from my mom this morning. Now, my mom is 67 years old, and I don't think she'll mind me sharing her age. And she has lived a full life. She has raised triplets, and I have an older brother and an older sister, and she has done everything to pour into her children while also having a career of her own. She's a retired police detective now. She lived her life, but she went through ups and downs. You know, my dad walked out, and life became just about her and providing for her kids and how do you survive. And she did it. She did it the best way she knew how, which was to work, which was to get up every day and work. And so today, what she's doing with her story, with her foundation, is she wants to tell her story. And so she called me this morning. She was super excited about writing her book. And she wants to write her book to tell her story. She's retired now, like I said earlier, and she wants to help retirees know that there's no sense in getting depressed about, you're retired from work. You're retired from a job that you went to for 10, 20 years. There's still life to be lived. And she wants to help retirees tell that story. So she wants to help people find life on the other side of a 30 year work career. And so she is again using her story, not running from it, not running from who she's been, who she was, and who she is, but now she's going to use it as a platform to tell other people, to help other people find that there is life on the other side of work. And so telling our story, not running from us, it also, as I mentioned earlier, also gives us that authenticity and originality. Why? Because your story is different than someone else's. Why? Because you probably handled it differently. You probably addressed your problems differently. You probably sought a different outcome than what someone else would. And so your story all is about not only finding a way to help other people, but it is also in the process honing your own voice so that you can tell a stronger story. When I look at a majority of my life, when I look at my career in sports, when I look at growing up a triplet to a single parent, when I look at getting married young and having to walk away from that marriage, when I look at just some of the other things, graduating college, dating, Oh my goodness, there's so many stories there that if you're honest with yourself and if you can be honest with other people, you can help a lot of people sharing those stories and how you made it through and how you've thickened your skin, because that's kind of the journey here. That is the journey of life. It's not only about what we're evolving into or what we are becoming, the success, the money, the acknowledgement, but how we are giving that back, how we are cycling that process, giving, spreading that love, spreading that encouragement. How are we making that process cyclical? And so I would say just don't run from your story. Be who you are. Be who you are called to be. And let me tell you this, you may think that you don't have a purpose here, but I will tell you this now. If you do think this about yourself, just understand that if you have breath in your body, you have a purpose. You have a calling. I promise you this. I used to lead in a recovery ministry at a church I used to attend here in Dallas. And there are women from all across the spectrum, all across the board, who are telling their stories, and some are pretty bad. Some women went through a lot of stuff to get where they are today. Hopelessness is a big thing running rampant today. Depression is a big thing running rampant today. And some of the stories that they told, mind-blowing. And some of the stories that they told, the reason why they were so powerful, so impactful, because if you sit in a large enough circle, meaning if you broaden your circle large enough, you're going to find people that are going through, if not today, have or will go through some of the things that you've been through. And so what made these women's stories so powerful was someone else across the room could say, me too. Me too. I went through that exact same thing, and wow, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this on this journey called life. I'm not alone in running this race. And so your story is powerful. Believe that. You have to believe that with everything in your being, that your story is worthy, your story is valid, your story is worthy to be told. Believe that first, and then understand that whenever you're ready, whenever you're willing and ready to tell your story can impact multiple lives around you. So I want to share that with you all today. That is kind of what was placed on my heart today to share with you all, especially after talking to my super giddy mother about writing her book, sharing her story. I want to just remind you all, do not run from your story. It is impactful. It is powerful. Your story is valid. It is worthy to be told. There's no story that's too little, that's too whatever. Your story is valid. And so be ready and be willing to tell it.